Welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chozen Live Podcast. Here we engage in tough talks and meaningful conversations. Each week, we feature a guest that will help us stay in the know. We're a podcast that brings the community to you every Monday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe so that you never miss a show. Now, here's your host, Jen Cares.
Well, good evening and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chozen Counselors. I am your host, Jen Cares, the founder of Chozen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. As always, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in, for liking, for commenting, for coming back again. Whether you catch it live or you catch the rewatch, the replay, I truly, truly do appreciate each and every one of you. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow so that you know every time that we go live or share something new with the community. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe so you know every time that we go live. Friends, I do hope that you enjoyed last week as I shared about trauma is real. One of the friends was sharing, they were waiting for me to tell a story. I said, if you've been watching Jen Cares, you know most of my business already. But just know that trauma is real, but it does not have to be a life sentence. So if you do need somebody to talk to, please, please, please go and connect with someone to talk about what's going on. All right? Tonight, the conversation continues of that live, laugh, love, and learn. And tonight, we're going to talk about good vibes. Why? The trauma was real, but we want some good vibes, right? I heard a rapper one time, he was saying, don't mess with my bread and my vibe. His bread was his money and his vibe was his mood. Friends, I said that I'm going to take that to the bank. Don't mess with my bread and don't mess with my vibe. So let's get into it. Tonight, actually, let me start with our Black History. This month is Black History Month. So who do we have for Black History Month? Tonight, we honor Lester Blackwell Granger. In 1952, he became the first Black man to serve as president of the National Conference of Social Work. He spent most of his time as acting NCSW president, advocating for civil rights measures. As National Executive Secretary of the National Urban League from 1941 to 1961, he was a champion of integration and equal treatment for African Americans. In 1958, he was one of 4 civil rights activist leaders, including the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., to meet with President Eisenhower to discuss civil rights reform. It was so cool to find out that he was our first Black social worker, and that's my field. So we want to give it up for Lester Blackwell Granger. All right, friends, so let's get on into it. As shared, tonight's theme is good vibes, and I'm just always excited to meet new people. Tonight's guest is George Turner. He's going to share with us what his music name is because good vibes gotta have some music, right? So help me welcome the amazing new friend of mine, George Turner.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing well, Jen. How about you?
You know, we just talked about how when y'all have weather. I am not going to complain today about anything.
There you go.
No complaints. I'm doing good. No complaints. We
Love
are
to hear
so
it.
happy to have you. Over here at Jen Cares, we always start with a quote of the day, okay? So
Yeah, let's hear it.
awesome. Today's quote of the day is, music can change the world because it can change people. By Bono. Again, music can change the world because it can change people. What are your thoughts on that quote?
First off, I have to, just acknowledge my ignorance. I've heard the name Bono, but I'm not familiar with his music. I love that quote. I think it's spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Music it's such an influential thing that impacts us in our everyday lives, and literally music can change people, and that is how you change the world.
Mm-hmm. It can do good and bad, but it's making
Absolutely.
some changes, making some waves. So,
Right.
friends, as always, I have prepared some questions to guide tonight's topics. But if you have any questions, any comments, be sure to drop them down below. So
Yeah,
first,
audience participation. So hopefully we get some good comments.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Friends, we got company. Come on, put them down there, all right? Cool, cool. So tell us about yourself. Who is yours or who is GT?
Yeah. So the comment about my music name is actually GT Dine
Okay,
Music. And that's my name. I'm George Turner, and my middle name is Dine. So there's your GT Dine.
okay.
And music has always been a part of my life. Uh, my dad brought me up. My dad was a musician, loved to sing. I remember some of my earliest memories of music, writing songs with him.
Mm-hmm.
He made me sing in the choir, church choir growing up. I hated it, but that planted seeds in my life that now I see the fruit of them today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a father, Christian hip hop artist, um, event host. We have actually Good Vibes is a family friendly open mic that we host here in Omaha. Looking
Mm-hmm.
to bring that to some outside communities. So we have a Good Vibes tour that we're planning for this summer. Really looking forward to bringing positive arts to different communities in the Midwest specifically. Just this year anyway. We're not limiting it to the Midwest, but that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
our range for now. Uh,
Gotcha.
we're in Omaha, Nebraska, from St. Louis. Um, so Midwest is kind of where I reside. Was born in California, so I got some of that coast in me.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely miss the beach, but yeah, like I said, music's always been part of my life, and I love the saying that you had today. Really looking forward to just kind of sharing more about that.
Awesome, awesome. So, what instruments did your dad play?
He played keys,
Okay.
um, and yeah, the cool thing about keyboard is the electric keyboard. You can program different sounds into it,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't understand growing up. I always wanted a guitar, and I remember one year for Christmas, my dad got me a keyboard, and I was so like just distraught about it because I didn't really understand that one, learning keyboard will help you with any other instrument, but two, you can literally make different sounds with the keyboard. So I could have imitated the guitar at least.
No, it's funny. My mom, she also played keys. We had a Hammond in the living room growing up, so it was pretty fun, right? I'd rather sing than play though, because me learning how to play didn't quite work out. But it goes to the roots of how music, when you start young, it kind of stays with you even as you get older.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the cool things about music. I love that. I was just listening to a song the other day. I don't remember what it was, but it took me back to a place in my past. Like you, when songs impress on you,
Mm,
even years down the road, decades down the road, you hear that song and it takes you back to where you were in that moment of life.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's the cool thing. You hear people say, "This is my soundtrack for this season."
Yeah.
Uh, I feel like, well, I actually heard a quote: "Art internal or eternalizes space.
Hmm.
Music eternalizes time."
Mm,
Right. So you can make a song, and I mean, even today, we listen to music that was made hundreds of years ago, and they still carry weight. They still carry the message of whatever it was that the artist had in them that they wanted to share.
hmm.
Um, but yeah, music's just such a cool thing.
Speaking of taking you to the time, I have to give it up for Usher yesterday, who did the halftime show, right? Um,
Shout out
he did a lot of oldies, So and it's funny to say oldies. Goodness gracious, I'm getting older.
right.
But just to hear the different songs and how the transitions, it was phenomenal. And people, y'all say what y'all say. I feel like he did an amazing job. That's my opinion. That's why I stand by. It's hard to get out there and get in front of people, whether professional or not professional, because somebody's always gonna have something to say. But it
Definitely.
definitely took me the moments of growing up, listening to the different songs.
Exactly. I was just talking to somebody about that earlier today. Like it was cool that he played so many songs that I grew up listening to.
Mhm,
And even though I haven't listened to any of those songs in a while,
mhm,
I just you still remember the words, you still remember how it made you feel.
mhm.
Usher and Alicia Keys, my boo. Like, man,
Yeah.
that's so powerful.
I'm not gonna talk about Alicia. I'm not gonna do it. Um,
She did great.
you did great. Again, it's hard to get out there in front of them people.
Right.
But yes, and just to be able to see the other people that came together, and that's something that you said of how you haven't heard in a while, but you were able to like correlate the words and things of that sort. And it's like you can read a book, you can write a book, but it doesn't mean that you remember those words and things or those quotes and like verbatim like that. Before a song, it's something about the jingle of the music that keeps in your mind where you're like, you don't have to call. Okay, I remember. It's okay. Now, with some where we fumble the words or we find out, oh, that's not what he said. Um,
Right.
but it's pretty cool to see how our mind can retain and hold on to that years
Right.
later. Mm. So, as a Christian rapper, was that like the dream? Did you always think you would be there? I mean, you didn't have too much fun singing on the choir, but then it shifted. How did that work?
No. So I remember my first time writing any kind of hip hop. My little cousin, this kid's like super talented, way more talented than me. I call him a kid now. He's like 2 years younger than me, but we were kids at the time. And I remember him writing a rap song and he was rapping. And I actually didn't get introduced to hip hop until probably around the fifth, sixth grade. And it was kind of new. I didn't understand the hip hop culture or anything like that. But I appreciated it and wanted to be a part of it. So I remember writing my first rap, and he laughed at me, and it just crushed me. So I never rapped again until it was actually 2013. I was in I was going through this discipleship program through my church, and they were encouraging us in our prayer time to take time to listen and hear from God, because God's always speaking to us, right? I'm gonna take it to a spiritualist place. God's always speaking to us, but we're not always in tune to the message of what He's trying to tell us, right? He wrote this whole 66 chapter book for us to hear from Him, but He also speaks to us internally and through other people. So I was in this prayer time, and I don't know if there was anything specific I was asking for. I just remember God was telling me that He's going to allow me to do what I love to glorify Him. Music's always been something that I love. It's always been something that it's been a part of my life that I can go back to. It's like one of those constants through every season of life. Things change, but the impression that music has is always going to be there. And oddly enough, I was going through listening to these artists that we have different seasons where there's different messages that really resound with us. I was listening to We Live as Kings, which is they separated now and gone their separate ways, but they had released the album We Live as Kings, and it was that was my jam for that season. And I was listening to an interview that one of the artists did with Rapzilla. It's a Christian hip hop platform. They share about Christian hip hop, and it was Dre Murray. He was just kind of sharing like his testimony of still having a job but still pursuing hip hop. Like they're touring, and it had such a big impression on me. Like I thought they were the biggest thing in the world, and just really realizing that. And I think this is a message for everyone. It doesn't matter where you are in life or the resources that you have. You can still do things that are impactful and meaningful on whatever scale that is, right? We don't have to be on the Super Bowl stage to be able to impact people through our message of music. So hearing that story was just like, wow. So you mean I can still work my job? I think I was doing payroll at the time and still pursue hip hop. Like this is crazy. So since that time, I've kind of just been learning the craft, learning more about Christian hip hop. It's not something I do full time. It is really a labor of love at this point. It's really a ministry, to be honest with you. We do a lot of charitable events. Very rarely do we get paid for the things that we're doing, which makes it kind of hard to do things at a scale, but we're still able to do what we love. and I say we because it's me, but I also have some other people that I run with. So shout out to all the humble kings. If any of y'all are in there, drop it in the chat. Uh, and also the One Kingdom Collective. These are some other faith-based people that I run around with here in Omaha and other communities around us. So yeah, that's kind of where I got into Christian hip hop. God told me He was gonna let me do what I love to glorify Him. Music has always been one of those passions for me, and we started with nothing, and now we're here.
Pretty cool. I'm a note taker, so if you see me looking away, I'm jotting down some notes. Because you said a
Cool.
couple pieces that were really cool. First, it was prayer time that you got to get direction, right? And that's really,
Yeah,
really important for us to have a moment to like let everything stop to really find out, okay, what is it I'm supposed to be doing? Where am I supposed to be going? And the dopeness of that was the answer of, I'm going to allow you to do something that you love, right? Because if we're doing something we don't love, you could tell sometimes. But when
for
you're
sure.
doing it because you love it, you could tell too. And there's just like this, like, oh, that was great. You were made to do that. And as you're going out and doing it, not necessarily getting paid financially right now, not yet, right? There's still a reward that comes with it because you see the difference that it's making in other people. And the dopeness of God is that you're doing what it is that you enjoy doing, and He's still meeting every need that you have, right?
For sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's the coolest part of life. And sometimes we're ready to throw in a towel. But if we're doing something that we enjoy doing, and God has breathed life into and has told us this is what you need to do, if we be faithful over little, He makes you rule over much, right? So it pays off after a while. So that was really good. I thank you for sharing that. But they're impactful on various levels. And sometimes we feel like because I haven't arrived here, I'm not on this stage, or I'm not doing this, that, and the other, that I'm not making a difference. But you walking out your door is making a difference. You smiling at that person, you saying, have a good day, is making a difference. And I think that's really
Right.
important too, because we feel like we're not doing anything. Like, share with me a time that you guys went out to perform, minister, and the impact that it had, or how it came back around to let you know we're doing the right thing, because that's an impact. Could you share a time?
Yeah. Not any specific
Mm-hmm.
situations jumping out at me right now. I can't say that we've had multiple times of actually the open mic that we run, Good Vibes,
Mm-hmm.
uh, having putting on this free family friendly event. People come, they get encouraged, they leave encouraged, they connect with people there. One of the coolest things for me is seeing people connect at an event that we're hosting and seeing those relationships grow down the road. We went to Chicago a few years ago. I think it was right before the pandemic, or maybe it was in the pandemic. I don't know. I lose track of time. But we went to Chicago and we did a Good Vibes, and we were walking downtown, just handing out flyers. And it was cool interacting with people in the city that we had really no knowledge of. And we ran into this ministry that was there. I think they were from Texas or something, and that was a really interesting experience. Um, but being able to just generously give to other communities has been huge. Seeing people that typically would not come to a Christian hip hop show being introduced to the genre has been huge. There's been a lot of great memories.
Very nice, very nice. And that's making an impact, introducing somebody to something that they thought, wait, I like that. They got a nice beat to it, now before you know it, that jingle or that tune, that line is running in your mind. Sometimes yep, the tones, they come at the most randomest times. They be like, you a jukebox. Sometimes they're like, where did that song come from? You hear it, it comes back around.
Yeah, there's been a lot of times that we've been at shows and it's usually the older people. Like, I didn't know that people were out here rapping about God. Like, yeah, and it's not corny either.
Yes, and it's not corny. Yes. Who would you say was your favorite rappers that also encouraged you to go in this lane?
Yeah, so We Live as Kings is Swoop, Dre Murray, Alex Faith and Christian Grey, like all of those guys are solid
Mm,
artists.
okay.
Swoop actually has won a Grammy a few years back with his album Sunshine, which is a great album. Go check it out. No Big Deal is one that I just the guy's sound, his energy is contagious, and it's just such so much like life and joy that comes out of his music. And Wande is another one that I'm really enjoying right now. I actually have a mission for our radio show. One of our co-hosts, T. Barlow, uh, is not a huge fan of her, so I've kind of made it my mission to find a Wande song that he's gonna love. So I think we have a couple good ones that hopefully he'll fall in love with. But yeah, there's so many great Christian hip hop artists, so many great artists in general, right? There's no lack of people making music. I just choose to listen to Christian hip hop. I I'm all about good vibes. I feel like it's important to monitor the things that you're putting into yourself, whether it's visually or through your ears. So I don't listen to a whole lot of secular hip hop, even though there are some talented artists out there. But I would rather listen to something that's going to bring some fruit to my life.
And that's really big. What you put in definitely makes a difference because before you know it, you sing the song, be like, they ain't going it, you know? So really
Yeah,
being mindful. Ear gate, eye gate, mouth gate, everything, whatever we watch on TV, whatever we listen to. And music is it can sneak in there because you'll be watching the show, but it's playing in the backdrop, right? So we just
absolutely,
gotta
100%.
pay attention a little bit and it gets us. It gets us. Um,
Lil Wayne was a huge artist for me growing up. When I got into hip hop, that was around the time that the 504 Boys and Cash Money, they were really starting to bubble up. And it was the Carter 2 Wayne had dropped, and I had purchased the album. I think it was probably the first CD I ever bought. I remember driving around in this rental car that I learned how to drive in, and just bumping the Carter 2. Lil Wayne was my jam back then. And then after I got saved, I started listening to the words in his music, and it's like this doesn't line up with the change that's happening in my heart. So I actually stopped listening to hip hop for a while until I found Christian hip hop. Jay Son's brother from St. Louis was uh, the first Christian hip hop artist that I connected with, and his album Life on Life like really impressed in me what it meant to follow Christ, and did it in a way that like I already related with. So I think that exactly what you're saying, that it is so impressionable, and being able to get those seeds planted in us that are fruitful will help us to live the life we want to think the way that we should be, will help us to grow and become the people that we want to. But then the opposite is true too. If you're listening to things that are tearing you down or tearing other people down, there's not a whole lot of life in that.
mhm, mhm, mhm. So Belinda has a question. She said, "Okay, I got that you don't really listen to secular hip hop. How do you keep up with the different trends in your music?"
Mm, that's good. That's really good. Um, I think that it it is good to be trendy, right? But it's also inauthentic. Uh,
Mhm.
to one of the guys that we run around here, Andre Wright, he has a song. I don't follow trends, I follow him. Talking about Jesus, right? So yeah, I'm probably not going to get as many spins for not being hip on the trends. But I am being authentic to myself and what I'm learning. Um, I do. I'm not gonna say I don't ever listen to secular hip hop. Kendrick Lamar is a fantastic artist. I think he has a great sound. It's another one that I just can't listen to too much. Uh, Again, he's a great artist, but um, yeah, I think that's kind of it. That yes, you want to be relatable, you want to be current, but I also want to be authentic to myself and my sound.
Is
which I
country
probably do myself a disservice because I don't listen to enough. Or I actually, there's also the opposite of that, that listening to certain artists or, consuming too much of something, then you
mhm,
kind of morph into that,
yeah.
um, which isn't not necessarily a terrible thing.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, you just try to be consistent with like what's inside of me.
Gotcha. It makes sense because again, you hang around people enough. After a while, you're starting to pick up the sayings that they have, right? So there's like, oh,
Right.
you've been hanging around. Not a bad thing necessarily, but when you're trying to stay true to your voice, then you have to get that quiet time of, all right, what should I be putting out? What God would you like me to share with your people? That'll be uplifting to them and also to me when I'm having a moment and I need to cheer myself up too, so I can run that back and be encouraged. Pretty good, pretty good. I like the open mic. Good vibes. I remember when I lived in Maryland, we used to have open mics a lot. It was like the biggest thing. It was like awesome to have. I call it like a uppity karaoke, right? Because everybody's getting up and singing the songs that's on their hearts or a poem or rap and things of that sort. But it's also so nice to be able to see the different talents of those that come. Because karaoke, you're singing somebody else's song, but open mic,
Right.
sometimes you're doing some original pieces. And
Yeah.
it can be scary because you're getting up in front of them. I remember the last open mic I went to actually in Maryland. I had did like a song that I had written. And it was good. It was like a little group, everybody rocking with it. I was like, oh, look at me, my one hit wonder. um, but open mics are really good because you get that support, you get that love, and it just be like a good groove time. How did you
For
guys get
sure.
started with open mic?
Yeah. So uh I don't know where I got introduced to open mics. I think it was there's two ladies here, Felicia Webster and Michelle Troxclair. They used to run a open mic, Verbal Gumbo. And I feel like that was my first like introduction to open mics. And I just love the platform because it is anybody can come and share whatever's on your heart. A lot of open mics typically have poetry or comedy or music. I feel like ours is a good mesh of everything. Like we welcome anyone. We just ask that all acts are family friendly, and by family friendly, we just ask no profanity, drug or sexual references, which is hard for some people. Right. I actually started a Facebook group for Omaha's Omaha open mics just to support open mics. I feel like, especially in the music industry, open mics actually don't get a lot of love because it's technically performing for free. With our open mic, we try to book a feature, which that guarantees that there's going to be an actual act that's going to be there that we can promote. But we kind of know what to expect. Usually, they have some sort of audience that they're bringing with them, um, and yeah, we just try to keep it open. That's the cool thing about the open mics; it's very versatile, um, and yeah, it's just a real diverse area.
Got it. Yeah. So then you also mentioned Humble Kings. Humble Kings. How did that come about and that group come together?
Humble King started through me and one of my friends, JC. Shout out to JC if you're watching. We started. It was really a group at first. We started making music together,
Mhm.
probably like 2015, and we came up with the name Humble Kings. We were going to work on the album. The album never happened, but through 2017, just being involved in the community, we started building more relationships and started this fellowship of Christian hip hop artists here in Omaha. And uh, that was kind of our identity.
Mhm.
Um, it really grew, and the roots grew through the Christian hip hop radio show. So it's Humble Kings radio show, and then we extended that to kind of our group. per se. We're all independent artists, individuals, but when we come together, we like to claim humble kings, and uh, yeah, we just kind of do events together. We've all got our different ministries and our different followings, and we all go to different churches. But
Mhm.
it's cool when we can come together and fellowship, and we're representing the one true King. So uh, yeah, that's what unifies us.
Yeah, it's very nice. All representing one true king and keeping us humble. Because Lord,
Yeah, we
yeah.
have it's kind of a running joke that we don't have the success that maybe somebody else would do, because that's God keeping us humble. If we were to just kind of blow up, we'd get a big head and big ego, and our platform keeps us humble. I
Yes,
know that God has more for us, but
yes,
yeah, this humble beginnings.
yeah. And I like that because until it comes, staying humble with it, because as he continues to still open up more doors, you're like, okay, thank you. That was you. You did that, Jesus. And then it comes a little bit more and a little bit more, but then staying humble through the process because you get up too high, too fast, we could crumble sometimes. So we want to that straight and narrow path, right? Goodness.
Absolutely. I believe that God has it in store for me to perform overseas. Even if
Mhm,
we're doing a world tour, we still want to be
mhm.
humble.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't lose
You
sight of
know,
that.
and overseas sometimes they're looking for people to come and do what's it called? What's it called when you go overseas and you do like a set for a little while? A residency,
A
you know.
residency, yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, that'd
so
be
you
great.
never know. You
Right.
never know. I know somebody that sometimes look, I've seen his information. Maybe you could guys go. We never know.
Let's go. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Good, good, good. Cool. So this is really nice. Dumble Kings and platform various levels. That's the part that you said that was good. So we talked about the brand of music that you really do enjoy. Being a creative, what's your process in writing a song and things of that sort?
Yeah, it's kind of a crutch right now, and I'm trying to get out of it. Typically, I have to have some sort of uh, this. I need some sort of inspiration. I don't want to just make music just for the sake of making something, um, but I want to have some sort of message behind my music. So I have to have something that's inspiring me. The other part that is kind of hindrance is I have not developed the skill of writing without music. So usually I'll find an instrumental that speaks to me, something that moves me, and I'll start writing to that. What I like to get into the practice of is writing and having, a broad assortment of things that I have written, but being able to write without having that music, I feel like that's something that hinders me from being able to just create in the moment, not having the music. Usually I'm pulling music from YouTube. um, Again, going back to that humble thing, we don't have a huge budget to spend. If y'all don't know, making music is not cheap, right? Making good music is not cheap. You can
Yeah,
just kind of bang on some keys and come up with something. But if you want something that sounds good and it's really going to move people, you're gonna have to invest in it a little bit, whether that's your time developing the skills or purchasing instrumentals from people. And then there comes the creative part of recording and mixing and mastering the music. All
yeah,
of that is part of that process.
yeah, for sure. Because copyright will get you in a minute, so
Absolutely.
you gotta
Yeah, I'm not trying to have any of those fees.
we don't want none of those fees. Nobody taking you to court. They sue you in a heartbeat. I feel like they sampled my music. We're like, dang on it. I thought I changed it up enough. I did. Dang on.
Right.
I made me think of the episode of Living Single where they was playing the music, but if you reversed it, it was like a classic song. And they thought that they had did something. They just switched it and the person figured it out. So they
That's
figured it
hilarious.
out, friends. Don't steal from the people. Don't steal from
You,
people.
right. And it's kind of a contradictory too, because like the whole basis, the whole beginning of hip hop was based off of sampling music. The
Mm-hmm.
DJs, they call it breaks. They take a little section of a song and they would
Mm-hmm.
play that in a loop, and that's what people would dance to. That's,
Mm-hmm.
breakdancing came from that.
Yeah.
So that's always been at the heart of hip hop, and I don't know how people get around that. There's ways of clearing samples, but again, that comes to, you have to pay homage to the source that it came from,
Mm-hmm.
and usually that homage comes in a couple dollars.
Yeah. A couple dollars is not just a 1 2. It's a couple zeros behind it sometimes. Uh,
Exactly.
I don't want nobody think it's like, oh, that's easy. No, friends. I'm always
Yeah,
humble to like really work it to get it to be the best of what it is that you want it to be as well.
absolutely.
Process. So in
Yeah.
that, so like when you are in the groove of doing the music, what keeps you alert in it? Are you like caffeinated with some coffee or things of that sort? Like how do you get into your groove?
I love coffee. uh, the place that we host Good Vibes at typically is a Christian coffee shop, Sozo Coffee Shop. If you guys are ever in Omaha, go check out Sozo downtown.
Mhm.
Um, but one thing that we've been trying to just be more intentional on is the things that I'm putting in my body. So
Mhm.
my food, drinking water, and
Mhm.
exercise, right? Getting the body moving. I want to be, that's one of my goals for this year is to be healthier mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially too.
Yeah, yeah. Now that's funny. I feel like you got into my business real fast, and I wasn't expecting it. Um, because like I've been trying like a healthier journey. Not that I would like eat crazy things of that sort, but like gym membership and things of that sort. And
Yep.
though I'm not a coffee fan, um, sometimes I feel like I do need a boost sometimes. And I recently found out about this program. It's like Magic Minds, right? And I was like nervous at first because I don't do well with caffeine stuff, so I wasn't sure how it would work out for me. But I was pleasantly surprised. They had like some natural ingredients. I shared it with a friend, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this sounds good." And I'm like, lion's mane mushroom and matcha, turmeric. Now I've heard of turmeric because I do like a ginger tea with turmeric. Um, but they had some other things that were natural, and it was cool because the guy who created it, he was diagnosed with a heart condition due to high levels of stress and having too much caffeine. So then he like made this concoction. And friends, I want to share it with you. So sorry, GT. 1 second though. Right. So it's this thing called Magic Minds. So it's pretty good. It's a little drink. It's like a little shot. You drink that whole thing and you go down. And again, I was pleasantly surprised by how it did help me. It shared again the matcha, the lion's mane mushroom. I don't eat mushrooms, but whatever they put in this works out pretty good. The turmeric, it has pieces that helps to boost our endurance and reduce fatigue. And I was again pleasantly surprised because I took it on a day when I was like having a lot of meetings and it wasn't really good. So friends, I want you to consider trying it. If you go over to their website, they told me that y'all could get a little percentage off when you put Gen 20, right? So
Okay.
it's magicmind.co/Gen. Um, it has helped me. You go over there, you get the percentage off or 20% off. And then if you do a subscription and things of that sort, they have a cool thing where if you don't like it, you will get a refund, but you could drink at room temperature or chilled. I even ordered some for a friend because, again, in this healthy kick, you're trying something new. And I'm like, I don't know. Again, I was pleasantly surprised. It's empty bottles, empty bottles. You get like 5 bottles. So it comes out pretty good. So though I don't do coffee, I tried this little Magic Mind and it helps me to keep myself together. Sorry, disclaimer. I wanted to share that with my friends today. Because
That's all
again,
good.
when you're doing healthy stuff. Now, again, I'm going to the gym trying to go a little more often. It's raining today, so I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Don't judge me, friends. There's
No
always,
judgment here.
but you're not gonna do a video at home of things. But like that, like trying to eat healthier, I try to pack my lunch because order out after a while, that can get expensive too.
Financial health. Yep.
Financial health. And well, somebody was asking, like, what's your goals financially? I said to make sure that I stay out of debt, not buying something I don't need. I feel like one of my friends listening might need to hear that too. Buying what we need, not just what we want. Because we'll see, it's like, oh, I need that. You don't. I don't need another pillow. I don't need another. I probably don't even need no more clothes right now. But again, you never know what's coming up, so you gotta be prepared. But still being mindful with that, like not wasting every check to just go and do it. Especially if we're trying to do goals of music and things, we got to do our priorities of what it is that we really love to do. How to balance that out. How hard or easy is that for you when like trying to make the sacrifice for the dream while also feeling like you're making a sacrifice of your day to day dream of just living?
I that one's like you hitting right here in the heartstrings because I am a dad.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Between me and my fiance, we have 5 children,
Mm-hmm.
and that takes a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of energy. So I've actually taken some steps back from pursuing music on a high level to make sure that I'm providing for the household and for my children. Um, so yeah, absolutely. I think that it is super important to be mindful of those things. Um, yeah, absolutely. I try to make the best decisions financially, but these children they require a lot. Um, But as far as the music goes, I think that's the great thing about, you were talking about it earlier, with it being something that I love, is even though I can't do it on a level that I'd like to today,
Mm-hmm.
whatever I am doing is still impactful. It's still filling me, and it still is making an influence in the people that I'm able to share it with.
Yeah, I'm grateful that you shared that too because there's some things that we do desire to do, but life be life, and right, and you can't maybe do it full time. But being at ease and content with the times that you are able to do, because it's like a fast shot of B12 of getting you what you need to feel like, all right, I did that. I gave that to society. I'm leaving a legacy and things of that sort, while also maintaining the duties of my day to day responsibilities. And sometimes people get to robbing Peter to pay Paul, or are trying to keep up with the Joneses, and we miss that mark. But being happy that to some capacity you are able to do it, and with the hope and expectation and joy of doing it beyond where you are now, but also being excited for that moments that you have now with it, and the benefits that you see of like your family still being taken care of and being able to be present in your family's life. Hats off.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a big part of the shift for me, of making the Good Vibes platform, having it
Mm-hmm.
family friendly. Uh I love getting out and rubbing elbows with fellow creatives. But doing that means I'm not home with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So why not create a platform, an environment where my kids can come and be a part of the things that
Yeah,
fill me?
yeah. And again, hats off for doing it family friendly, because then people can bring their children. If it's like a family event now. If they do come out with their children, like the children are invited, they can come.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Bring the kids. We've had kids that sign up for the open mic.
See, again, family time is so important. I told you when Chosen first started, we would do like the back to school family night. So really just trying to bring families together. They get stuck behind their computer, their TV, everybody's in their phones. But having that moment, um, it's such great memories that you're creating that they then take on for years and years to come. And then get up and perform and they get strengthened, like, oh, I could do this too. You might have some young Christian rappers out there.
Oh, absolutely. I wish that you were closer, or we were closer, so that we could, collaborate on some of that. I love what you're doing with the back to school stuff, and just pouring into the families. I think that's so important to have more positive influences. It takes a village, y'all. It takes a village, and anytime that we're able to come together with the community and provide something positive for the children, we're planting those seeds. There's enough negativity out here in this world. We all need more good vibes.
We all need more good vibes. We all need more. So in that, you share that you have a podcast as well and a radio show. Can you share about that?
Yep. So I started with the radio show. 2017 is when it got established. Humble Kings radio show. We were on a local radio station that no longer exists. Now we are on Must Be Heard Radio. I can't remember where they're out of now, but it is an internet radio station. So you guys check them out. Humble Kings with the Z, because we're grammatically incorrect. This is
Yes.
why I spelled my name music with the Q.
Yes.
Uh, it's supposed to be hip, I think. Anyway, Humble Kings radio show. It's me, DJ Flyness, T Barlow, and from time to time we'll have my brothers Roger That and JC popping in as a part of the show, and we're just talking about stuff that's going on in the culture, talking about it in the Christian light, and playing some what we believe dope hip hop in the midst of it. And then our humble podcast. This has been a really cool project. 2022 now. I just kind of had the itch. I like to start projects to learn new things and build skills. So I approached Christina. I was like, hey, what do you think about doing a podcast? And she's one that's typically behind the scenes. So when I said podcast, she heard audio podcast. Well, we actually found a TV station to produce our show. So we have a TV show podcast. Our humble podcast is available on KPAO, which is a public access TV station here in Omaha. They also are online, so you can find the show online there. And it also gets uploaded to our YouTube, Rumble, and all your podcast platforms. And basically, right now, our humble podcast is us interviewing some of the people that we've been running around with doing events here in Omaha. This is our second season. I think we're just getting ready to tape our 19th episode, and we're this season we're going to be branching outside of our typical network to bring in some people that are doing good in the community. We're doing a good vibes show at Scatterjoy Acres, which is a petting zoo. It's like super cool. Like, to be able to go somewhere that you can pet a porcupine is like just crazy, right? They got zebras and foxes and sloths and all kinds of animals. So we're gonna do good vibes out there. It's gonna be a vendor fair. We're gonna have animals, and of course, we're doing the open mic. Uh,
Gotcha.
yeah, so we're gonna invite Joy, who is the founder of Scatterjoy Acres, to be a guest on the podcast. We're really
Mhm.
excited about that, and then also am planning a veterans resource and hiring event that I'm collaborating with the VA here in Omaha, and hoping to get them on the podcast also as some community partners, right? That we're sharing people that are doing good for the community. That's kind of the basis of the podcast.
Gotcha. So you said mustbeheardradio.com,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you go there and you could tune in. And that's the Humble Kings radio show on the radio, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And then I don't want to say it wrong, but
KPAO.
Yep, KPAO TV Omaha.org, where you can see your show. And that's the
Our humble
Our
podcast.
Humble podcast. Yes, I saw that at 7:00. But that's your
Yes, ma'am.
time.
7 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Yes.
The show airs on Sunday and Wednesday. And then the way that we're doing it, we tape an hour show that's broken into 2 weeks of shows for the television.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Sunday, Wednesday, we got episode one, and then the next week, Sunday, Wednesday, episode two, and then Thursday, the archive goes up on YouTube, Rumble, and the podcast platforms.
Gotcha.
Keep it complicated.
So again, Our Humble podcast, you can go and check it out. It's live in a TV studio. So they're doing big things over there in Omaha. Did I say it right? Omaha?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So you guys go ahead and check them out. They're doing some great things.
Yeah, it's been a really fun project. And it's really cool seeing my co-hosts grow through that platform. Like I said, she's one that is typically behind the scenes, but you can see like the confidence growing and her growing as a person, and it just helps the conversations. I'm growing through it too. It's been a really cool
Mhm.
project, and I'm excited to continue sharing that with people.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to look it up as well and to tune in because I always want something new to I always want to connect with somebody new and learn something new because we can learn something new every day. And it's part of you sharing impactful on various levels. So though to somebody it might seem small, but it's big to somebody else because as they tune in at that right moment. They hear something that encourages them to keep on going in this thing called life.
Absolutely.
This was good. This was good. So you're talking about the radio, talking about the podcast. Doo-doo-doo. What are words of wisdom for those that are trying to pursue what it is that they love doing, but also still tending to the livelihoods of life and responsibilities of life? Because we don't want them to give up on the things of livelihood to, chase the dream. It's balance and all of it. But what are the words of wisdom you would give to somebody in this lane?
Yeah, I heard a saying back in 2017, and I will give that advice to anyone that has a passion that they want to get after. You don't have to be good to start, but you have to start to get good, right? So, regardless of whatever starting looks like for you, you can always build. Uh, trying to think of a good example. Uh, the 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 open mic, we started off still figuring things out. Even today, we've been doing it for 6 years, 5 years now. We're still learning and growing and trying to do it better. Uh, we don't have everything together. I think that the book was Think and Grow Rich. There's these failure diseases that it says that people have, procrastination, detailitis, uh, and there's another one, perfectionism or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but basically, it's the saying that so many people get analysis paralysis, right? Trying to get everything lined up to get started. You'll probably never have everything figured out. The biggest thing is get started, and you're going to learn through the process. You're going to grow and develop into the person that you need to be successful by doing the thing. It's okay to fail. Failure is not final. I like the saying. It's like I've heard it a lot of times in hip hop. Uh, I turn the L. It's not a loss. It's a lesson, right? Turn that L into a lesson, not a loss. I'm messing it up, but anyway, I think you guys get the point. Of it's okay to fail. Um, because we're going to learn and grow through the process. Just get started and ask lots of questions because there's people that have knowledge and resources that are willing to share with you. Um, Jen, we connected through a Facebook group that I joined,
Mhm.
just trying to learn more about podcasting
Mhm.
and being able to have this pool of people to learn and grow from has been really beneficial for me. And this
Mhm.
is actually the second podcast that I've been booked for through that group
Very
of
nice.
just seeking the knowledge.
Very nice. Yeah. And that's the dope part of, it's funny. I just randomly reach out to people. I don't know nothing about them. But I create great connections with different people. Get to, know somebody in a different state, find out, how I should be grateful for, the weather here, but also to
Right.
find out, what others are doing and to be encouraged, to keep on what it is that we're doing because you're making a difference, where you are, we're making a difference over here and trying to encourage somebody that tunes in that they too can make a difference. And I like that part of you don't have to be good to start. You just got to start to then be good. And to turn, those experiences into lessons. Our theme is live, laugh, love, and learn. We're going to live, we're going to laugh sometimes, we're going to love, and that learn might cause some tears sometimes because we don't always like it, that growth part. But it's so, so cool to be able to learn from somebody else. And I'm so grateful for, people that are, like you, where you're like, yeah, let me come on and talk because you too, your experience is so powerful to be able to encourage somebody else. That small dream that you thought maybe was impossible has now become, mature teenager and things that sort moving into adulthood. And hopefully never going into a nursing home, right? I don't know where that analogy came from.
I love it. I love it.
But, you
I,
know,
I really
yeah.
I really like the title for this season for you: live, laugh, love, and learn. I
Mhm.
feel like that learn is it could come in a negative form, but perspective's everything, right? You were talking about the snow that's coming.
Yeah.
It To someone that has no outside perspective, this could be the end of the world.
Mhm.
But if you just step back a little bit and look at the big picture, like, hey, we got 2 inches of snow. It's inconvenient, but it could be worse. It could always be worse. Hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, humble king, for giving me some humble pie.
No problem. That's
Um,
what we're called to do.
yes, yes. Again, we just had some nice weather here in the Philadelphia area. You thought spring had already come, and the groundhog said spring was coming early. I don't know if he's telling
Right.
the truth or not. Um, to keep hope alive, whether it does or it doesn't. The joy is also in being prepared for it. You know, when we had the snow a couple weeks ago, I had some salt, but not as much salt as I should have had. Now I'm stocked up. You can do whatever you want to do out there. I got like
There you
5
go.
bags out there, and I only need 1 bag per, cycle and things that sort. So again, finding also the joy and preparing ourselves the best we can, and good vibes. We got to do our part to prepare ourselves. We can't just expect good vibes to happen and I'm not doing anything, because then you get in that woe is me. Let's put some music on Saturday mornings. Growing up, you put some music on that got you encouraged to clean. So you got to do something to help create that atmosphere to help you stay on your grind and do what it is you're trying to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think I saw one of the questions that you had earlier was about like what kind of music I listen to. I feel
Yes.
like well I like all sorts of music genres.
Mm-hmm.
Um I gravitate most to hip hop, but my radio in my car stays on real jazz. I like music without words. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it allows you to kind of paint the picture for yourself. I really love classical music.
Okay.
Um but the fact that like music can set an atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
right? I need some good upbeat music to get me moving in the gym, or something with like just a nice rhythm so I'm inspired to go clean,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it is. I Music is it's amazing, and it really does like it can change the tone of a room or an environment. Just adding just a little bit of music. In my full-time job, I'm a recruiter for First Student. Let's put that out there. If anybody's looking for a job, we're hiring school bus drivers. And this is a national company, so there
Very
is
nice.
probably a First Student near you. We train people for their CDLs. And I bring all that up to say, at the unemployment office here, I like to set up there to just kind of talk to people as they're coming in and let them know that we're here, so they're aware that this is a pretty decent company to work for and the opportunities that we have. Every time I come in there, the people in the office ask me, and they notice it when I don't do it. I bring a speaker with me because I play some music, right? I bring the good vibes with me wherever I go. Uh, but they really enjoy it when when I bring music with me, and they're not too happy with me when I don't.
It makes a difference. People be surprised. You go into some stores and one when the holidays come around, it's not even Thanksgiving and they're playing Christmas music already. And you're still singing too.
Right.
Weather outside is frightful. Praise to
Yep.
you get the busting, but it gives you like a little pep in your step. I went to a restaurant the other day. They had a good playlist playing. Now, some of the songs were a little questionable during the lunchtime hour. However, I know them, but I was like, this doing lunch. They got all types of people in here. I don't know if they
Right.
know what the song is really about. If they really listen to the words, they might be like, what are y'all doing? Who got a red light special in here? Because that's the vibe it was given, but the other songs that came through was like good. It like keep you upbeat, get you talking and things. So it really does. Please continue to take your speakers, what I'm saying. Because you're taking good vibes and they're appreciative of it. But also cool for that program where people get their CDLs. Friends, if you know anybody that would like to obtain their CDLs, it's always great when you could get that and you don't have to pay for it because somebody else is paying for it to help you do what it is you got to do. You know, you're
We
trying to.
actually pay people for their time studying for their CDL,
Mm,
getting paid to get the CDL, opposed to going to a school where you have to pay like $2,000 and go through a 6 week course. You have no
mm,
income for this 6 weeks, but
right, right.
you're moving on faith. Um, but yeah, the program with First Student is really cool. Being able to, there's usually a sign on bonus. It depends on the
Mm-hmm.
area. And then being able to get paid while you're studying for your CDL. And I would say our starting page in most communities is pretty competitive.
Pretty nice friends. If you know somebody, send him GT's way. He's going to help them. He's going to get them good vibes, you know, as he connects them with a good job. Uh, to be able to like meet your needs and things of certain, because that's a big thing too. Like people are getting jobs and feel like it's not doing enough. So you gotta add this on as a, it might do better than where you are. So again, explore your horizons. Where you are, let's talk about that too. Where you are does not have to be the ultimate end. We are gifted and talented to do many different things. So if it's something that you want to try that you haven't tried yet, Jen is not telling you to quit your job. Let me clarify that. I'm saying that if there's something else that you want to do, I want you to pursue your goal and dream. I've had several jobs to find out, yep, I like this. Nope, I don't like this. And sometimes people are places where they feel like, I like it right now, but what do you want to be next? And I want to challenge you to really explore that so you can do what it is that you love, being able to do
Yeah.
the music, being able to connect people with, jobs and have music there. You want to dream over there with your good vibes, and we want to be able to share that with other people.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when I just kind of sit back and reflect on that perspective piece, right? A lot of times we take where we are for granted and don't really appreciate the opportunities that we have. But when I sit back and think about the fact that I'm able to do what I love and it's providing an income for my family, a lot of times I'm able to take my kids to work with me or working from home so I don't have to get a sitter. Summer, y'all, it was hard. It was real, but it was hard. Kids were out of school and they were coming with me everywhere. Um, First Student sponsors a lot of community events. It's actually how I got tied to them. They actually sponsor the Humble Kings in parade series. So every year we do a series of parades where we do a rolling concert. We're doing Christian hip hop and community parades. It's huge. Just share real quick. One of the most powerful moments I had in one of the parades was one of my brothers is Jesus' little brother. He was actually our most recent guest on our Humble podcast. We were out in the uh, this Miller, just like a more affluent community in Omaha, and we were doing a parade, and he has this song that is like Jesus, and I don't remember the rest of it. He never leaves us or something, and just rolling in this parade working, but ministering the gospel of Jesus and seeing people in the community screaming Jesus with us. Like it brought my DJ to tears. He's sitting up there crying, but it was just such a powerful moment and such a great memory. Uh, I say that to say, you may not be where you want to be, but there is light and obviously life. We're living life now where you are. So back to that perspective, just try to find the positive in that situation and uh just stick to the fight because where you are isn't the end of your journey.
Mm-hmm.
There's constantly things are changing. I had a interesting revelation last week. I was sitting down with the lady that I used to work for, uh, like 5 years ago, and she was just reflecting on like where I was in life in that time and the location that she had her office. It was like a really dope office space that had like this cool espresso machine that like whipped up your coffee exactly how you wanted it, like nice flavors and different drinks or whatever. And it was really cool. I didn't spend a lot of time with that company, but she planted seeds in my life that I still use today. And today she's moved on to other things in her life, other people that we were working with in that office space I've run into since then. And we're all doing different things today than we were those 5 years ago. Um, but we connected at that time. And it's just nice to look back and reflect on where we were and where we are now. And I bet if you guys just kind of take a moment to think about where you've been in life, right? I say things can be worse, but we probably all have had situations that were worse for us. And I would even offer that as some motivation. If you're going through a tough time, just remember that this is not the end of your story, that this too shall pass. There's more life, there's more light in front of you. Stick to the good fight, and you never know what life is gonna look like 5 months from now. I mean, even a week from now, situations can change.
I was going to ask you what you want us to walk away with, but I feel like it was so many nuggets in there. I mean, I will ask if you got anything else you want us to know, but that's so important at that perspective. And sometimes, again, we looking for the big thing and not realizing that small thing of when I just look back last year, I was struggling with that. I'm not struggling with it no more. A
Right.
couple years ago, I was homeless. I'm not homeless no more. I was pinching pennies. I'm not pinching pennies anymore. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. It works
Absolutely.
out. It works out. Really good, really good. Friends, y'all check out the Humble Podcast. You check out the Humble Kings radio show. They're doing some amazing things over in Omaha. I am excited. This is really good. I am so grateful to have met you. Again, I'm going to check out the
Thank
music. I also put down Verbal Gumbo. I'm going to check that out. That's also a nice play of words. Gumbo got a lot of stuff in there. So verbal, that's
it
nice.
is. They're doing just one show a year now.
Okay.
They've since parted ways, but they both have their different projects going on now. Um, but yeah, that was such a cool platform to see how. I mean, I don't remember how long it was, but they've been running together for a long time. And I remember when that came to an end, just like the void that it left in the community. Um, but still, those seeds that they planted brought new life. Obviously, what we're doing today was influenced by that
Mhm.
project for them.
Yeah.
And when they do their annual shows, I have yet to get back to it, but I know like they sell out every year. The Benson Theater, I think, is where they hosted at,
Mhm.
and it's like standing room only because
Very,
they just such phenomenal ladies that do such great work.
very nice. Again, I'm going to check them out. Again, I thank you so much for joining us tonight. Yes,
Thanks for
Ken.
having me.
Great, great takeaway, right? Perspective. Huh.
Thanks, Ken.
More humble pie in that though, right?
Always,
Because in our
always.
humanness, we want to be like, but perspective says, I have been in worse. This is not as worse as I think it is. Bad grammar, but you know what I'm saying. Good
Yeah.
vibes though. Good vibes. I receive it.
Yes, ma'am. Hey,
Mm,
maybe we'll be able to collaborate on something in the future. I think what you're doing in Pennsylvania is amazing, and I've already kind of put some things into motion that maybe can lead to
yeah.
some opportunities in the future.
For sure, for sure, for sure. I'll be on the lookout. But again, I'm also gonna check out the music and support because I like to support our
Please
guests
do.
that come on and always just try to encourage you to keep on doing what it is that you're doing because that is impactful. What it is that you're doing, that good vibes, again, that music. As you can see when you go to the offices, it's so important. One question though, sorry, because when you said you listen to music without words and things like that, so what did you think of Andre 3000's? Did you listen to it? His most recent?
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for
Yeah,
it. I know a lot
yeah.
of people had a problem with it. I think, just that point that where he started with his
Mm-hmm,
music journey isn't
mm-hmm,
necessarily where he is right now.
mm-hmm.
Let that man grow.
Yeah,
you know, let him live his life.
yes.
I saw something that he has a residency where he's playing his flute, and like that's huge. That's
Yeah.
gonna impact people. Something I've reflected on recently is I've done like a lot of different projects throughout my journey, and usually in those projects, there's been something that is attached to my life that has grown with me, right?
Mm,
The relationship I'm in today was part of that. Humble Kings radio show, Good Vibes, like all the things that we're doing has has added to my life, right? And it things change and they morph and they grow. I think that I again love instrumental music. I actually used to go to sleep every night listening to this Native American themed flute playlist. Is an album, American Manta, and I think that music just has such a way of moving people, and it it's a good thing. I think the people that are hating on him, they want to keep Andre in the box where he was,
Mhm.
but let that man grow. Let him grow
Yeah.
and experience life and share the art that he is experiencing and that he wants to express.
Mhm. Agreed, agreed. I actually found it to be a little soothing. I was like, "Oh, this would like take you to sleep a little bit. It's relaxing and things of that sort." And I
Yeah,
need that because sometimes the hard, rough stuff that's about life and things of that sort. But sometimes we gotta take a pause from that too. Life is going life, but we also want to have
absolutely.
some moments where we got some peace, we have some calmness, we got some stillness to then figure out what our next steps are going to be, and to not just be in an anxious, um, gotta go, system. Like once you have a moment where you could calm down or like just breathe a little bit, we need those moments. So again, friends, it's part of good vibes. You got to find a vibe that works for you to keep you
Right.
good.
I thought it was interesting that his songs were so long because
Mhm.
like radio songs are like 3 minutes,
Yeah.
uh, but I think like his first song is like 13 minutes. It's
Mhm.
not conventional,
Mhm.
at least in the world that he was in, but this is the art that he wants to express. And I feel like even a hip hop song like that's longer than 3 minutes, a lot of people don't give the light of day. And it's
Mhm.
like, you know, there's a message that needs to be expressed, and maybe that 3 minutes isn't enough time.
Yes.
Also, this whole radio culture, I don't even listen to the radio. I listen to Sirius radio, obviously, but being
Mhm.
able to like cherry pick the things that you listen to, you don't
Mhm.
have to listen to that 3 minute song or whatever. If it's something that is adding to your life and it's feeding
Mhm.
you, go ahead and indulge in that. And if it's not, it's okay. It's not for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, find what works for you. Nobody's forcing you. You got the skip button. Now, Pandora, if you don't pay, you can't skip it so many times.
Right.
if, you, if you go to YouTube, if you ain't paying, you got to listen to a couple ads
Listen
sometimes.
to them
But
as the YouTube ads drive me crazy.
find music. And I get it. People want to get paid because eventually, if I get enough subscribers, friends, go subscribe. Help me out. I want you to watch the ad too to make sure you're like, passive income. Okay. Yes.
Right.
But awesome. This was so good. Again, I do appreciate you for joining us tonight. I hope that you had a good time. And
I
I can't
did.
wait to see what you're doing out in the streets as you continue to make an impact in this city.
Yes, ma'am. We're gonna continue moving. I was just talking to somebody today. Even if what we're doing isn't as illustrious as we'd like to be, we're gonna continue moving forward. So we're gonna continue doing what we're doing,
Mhm.
and we're gonna influence the people that we're meant to,
Yeah.
and just being obedient servants.
Yes, I love it. That's it. Consistency is key too. As you keep on doing it, it's like, you know what?
Big time.
Somebody that can help you and they'll connect and then it works out amazing.
Absolutely. Yes,
Awesome.
ma'am.
Awesome. Thank you again. May you have a great evening.
You too. Thanks, Jen.
Yes. Awesome, friends. I do hope that you enjoy GT. Oh, that was really good talking about that good vibes. Oh, he got on my toes a little bit. I mean, embracing it. I'm embracing it. But sometimes you gotta have that too. And that's what we talk about. Tough talks and meaningful conversations over here at Gen Cares. We gotta be real with ourselves. Knowing when we need to do better, when we need to stop and know, what music is good for us in that moment. Because if I'm having a bad day and I'm listening to that bust the windows out your car, I might bust my windows. And that ain't good because then I'm going to jail and nobody got time for that. Like, who won't bail me out? So then I need to put on maybe some of that calming music that Andre 3000 has. So like yoga, meditate, bring myself down, woosah, okay? So we have to find out what works for us in those good vibes. Don't forget our Black History Fact of today as we honored Lester Blackwell Granger because in 1952 he became the first African American to serve as president of the National Conference of Social Work. And I'm gonna stop right there. Y'all can read other pieces. We shared about it earlier. I'm excited. He was the first, African American to be a social worker, and it's so important to be able to do equal rights and treatment for others, but also give them the resources and the support that they need to keep on going in this thing called life. Do not forget our quote of the day. Music can change the world because it can change people. And that's by Bono. Again, music can change the world because it can change people. Be sure to join us next week, excuse me, as we have Toya Marshall for I Understood the Assignment, as we continue the Live, Laugh, Love, and Learn February series. I do hope that you have been enjoying it. Friends, also don't forget, you can get a nice little discount over there if you go over to Magic Mind. And again, I was hesitant to share. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but it was pleasantly surprising how it calmed me down. It kept me focused. It gave me some energy, but it wasn't too much. It did help with that mental clarity to be able to get through that day. Because sometimes life be life, and you be like, okay. But again, it gives some good energy with that matcha. It keeps you focused and a little piece to make you happy. And who doesn't want to be happy? We just talked about good vibes. So, friends, I do hope that you enjoyed this on tonight. I do hope that you join us next week. Do know that our podcast on Thursdays, every Thursday it launches. This Thursday, my good girl Karima is going to be on, and she's going to talk about how she was in some relationships and she let some stuff go on too long. And sometimes we do that, friends, as we talk about all things relationship with Blended Fab Thursdays at 8 p.m. on YouTube exclusively. You can just search Chosen Counselors and it will come up. Depending what you're watching on, you can click and you'll get a link that'll take you right over to our YouTube channel. Friends, I think that is everything. I do love and appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, for liking, for commenting, and coming back again. Good vibes. But until next time, I love you all for real. Good night.
Friends, we thank you for joining Jen Cares this week. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Unable to watch us live? Be sure to find us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also visit our website, chozencounselors.com. That's Chosen with a Z, to stay in the know and most of all, never miss a show. If you found value in this show, we'd appreciate you sharing it with a friend. Most of all, be sure to tune in for our next episode as we specialize in bringing the community to you.